Hello, I'm Drew Middleton. I'm here with Joel Reedy from the seminary school here at Liberty University. Now we're talking about taking God out of America from wallbuilders.com, and specifically a YouTube video. That's where all of our questions are going to stem from today. So, and starting off, my first question is what impact will continuing to remove God from America and repeated moves to secularize America into a nation where God is absent have on our nation's future and on our children?
Well, Drew, I think that's a great question. I think we have to realize that there are three ways in which that's going to impact our country. It will impact us theologically, it will impact us politically, and it will impact us socially. The first is theologically. I believe that there will be negative consequences to the way that people view God as a result of the way that they view government. If people view government as the highest authority, they begin to remove God in their thinking, not just in their everyday lives, not just in political world, but also just in who they know God to be personally. The others, though, are the ones that are much more perhaps concerning, or they're the definite outcome of viewing God differently. The first is socially. We've already seen in the past what happens when people remove God from their thinking. We've seen what's happened with slavery. We've seen what's happened with other enormous societal sins that were not addressed. And when people say that, well, we don't need God to determine what's right and wrong, what they're really revealing is that they believe that right and wrong is something that everyone agrees on. And of course, we know that that's not the case. If there is no God, if there is no ultimate moral standard, then what we descend into is moral anarchy, where the mob rules by force. The mob rules by who happens to have the power at the time, or what the majority of people think. And again, all throughout history, in every society that we've ever seen that happen in, the results have been disastrous.
Hitler.
Certainly. And you know, a lot of people object to that. A lot of secular thinkers will say, you know, that's just ridiculous, the idea that a society will just immediately descend into anarchy. I think it's important to realize that there are still reverberations of America's Christian founding that are positively affecting the country today.
So you're saying with George Washington, you know, with the Constitution, where right now, you know, they're putting the new Constitution in to the, you know, in the new visitor center that they just built, right? Mm-hmm. They're taking God out in documents, in history, in monuments for our children. If they're not being taught how, you know, what our country, you know, the history of our country, how's that going to impact them? What is our future?
If you'll allow this expression, through the back door, I believe that we can show biblical principles to be correct. In other words, when we're attacking the question of life and whether or not abortion is right or wrong, it's not enough just to say, well, look, the Bible values human life. You know, the Bible, God refers to fetuses and unborn children as human beings, and therefore abortion is wrong. That will fly with Christians. It won't fly outside of Christian circles. However, it is good for us to take, for example, science, even political theory, and to show how the devaluing of life at every stage is a dangerous principle that will send us down a darker path in the future.
So you're saying, are you saying with those, you know, those things when it comes to you're taking God out of those documents, right? Taking God out of American history. Do you think that will influence the way our children in the future, it is sounding like you're saying that, but how do you see it influencing the future of our country? I understand the belief system, but, you know, how does it physically and also culturally speaking affect our country?
Well, again, anytime that you have something, for example, like Christianity, as an integral part of the foundation of something, for example, the United States, by devaluing and removing something that was an integral part of your foundation, you are fundamentally changing what you are and who you are. And what's even more dangerous is that we're not even being honest with ourselves as a country about that change taking place. You can't change what's in the ingredients and not expect for the final product to come out differently. And as a result, people, even secular people who say, well, we don't believe that that American history needs God. We don't believe that America needs God. We can get along as a group of people who are all, you know, for the same ideas and for the same things. What they're not being honest about is the fact that the reason that America is where it is today, whether it's because of its revolutionary ideas about economics, its revolutionary ideas about democracy, these are things that come directly out of the Constitution, and the Constitution's principles are found directly in the Bible and in Christian thought that had been established for hundreds of years.
So you're saying if we take it out from the original documents, let's say it's the Constitution.
Sure.
let's not even say, let's say if they change the scriptures, which they aren't. Let's say they're changing history, they're changing documents to fit what they believe. How does that? You're saying it fundamentally changes the way we look at things.
Sure.
What's the results? What could it result in, for our children, for our future?
The result is that our assumptions in public discussion and in public debate are based on faulty precepts. For example, if you were to suddenly believe that the United States government never had a president until the 20th century, that was a new idea in the 20th century, you would be very confused about the role of the President of the United States. You'd be cutting out 120 years of American history that you had to deal with. Well, with something as fundamental as the role of the Bible in the foundation of our country, with something as fundamental as the role of public prayer in the foundation of our country, when students are being taught in public schools all throughout their growing up years that that all of our founding fathers were atheists, they didn't believe in God, God was a sideline, he wasn't important, as a result it's changing their understanding of history. And changing their understanding of history means that when we head into political discussions, when we head into conversations and people say, we shouldn't have a National Day of Prayer, and they don't realize the National Day of Prayer goes all the way back to George Washington.
So you're saying that our country, let's say establishing our country, right? And establishing our country, America, God bless America, God was a major factor, you're saying?
Sure. And you have to look no further than the original founding documents to see that.
And if they take it out, what are the,
Then we have to look at academic honesty. And that's why Christians need to be on the forefront of aggressively explaining why we believe what we believe, and again, showing the practical ways in which that becomes true. A lot of people will say, okay, so what? Historians are de-emphasizing the role of the Bible in the foundation and the formation of America. Why is that important? We need to be prepared to go and show the practical ways in which that's affecting our country. One cannot walk through the Capitol building in the United States. One cannot even walk through the Rotunda without seeing the enormous influence of religion on America. Out of the 8 large paintings in the Rotunda, 4 of them depict an overtly religious message, whether a baptism, whether a public prayer, whether actually a church service or a Bible study. Those are all present in the big paintings that are in the Capitol Rotunda.
I want to wait for this to pass.
Yeah.
Thanks for...
We're blessing the Wright brothers right now.
So let's finish it out as far as the conclusion question. So in wrapping up, where do you see, the way we're going as a country? We're building monuments, multi-billion-dollar monuments that take God out of America. Where do you see our future as a country?
The future of this country is not going to be saved by politicians or even just by people speaking up and doing rallies. Those are important, and I'm not downing those as influential. The future of America depends on the Christian church. The Church of Jesus Christ is the tool that He has put in place to shape societies, to form governments, to form the way that people think about the world. The Christian church has an obligation and a responsibility to start within itself in speaking strongly about the truth, even about where America has come from. For our kids in church to understand why these ideas are important is of first importance for us as Christians in the future.
A follow-up in my last question is with children, if we're not teaching children about God and founding this country, what is the next step?
Well, there is no next step. It's very hard to change people's ideas when they're older. We need a better educational system. There's a huge piece right there. To the degree that students are being given faulty or incomplete information, we need to try to remedy that. But I really think it starts in education. I think if we lose the battle over the educational system in this country, which we are losing, then we've lost the war.
Thank you, Joel.
Hey, my pleasure.
Sure. It was great interviewing you, and thank you guys for watching. I'm Drew Middleton for BK News.